just making sure that I'm actually working. Well, I get finished. I'm the proudest 13-year-old ever. My father walks out and goes, too many big ones there, too many little ones there. It's completely wrong. Tear it down and start over. I'm crushed. I'm like, wait, when did you see this happening? Oh, the first 10 minutes. You started off wrong. Why didn't you tell me? He said, son, you would have never seen it for yourself. You have to see your mistakes first before you can learn from them. So that started me off. Now, next thing, I went on to Florida State and then Auburn University, finished up in landscape architecture. I've done different gardens, yards, buildings around the world. I've been fortunate. But when I hit my 30s, there was something that's still nagging at me. I didn't have a terminal degree. I was doing the macro, these big things. I was also the landscape architectural rep for Monrovia Nurseries, largest nursery in the U.S. I had a great job. But the most rewarding thing I've ever done in my life was coaching Little League sports. And there was something about that self-worth I was not finding where I was at. I loved design. I loved what I was doing. But there was still something nagging at me. So I went back to school, got my master's. Got my second bachelor's in environmental design, my master's in industrial. So I could do macro and micro. I was finding, man, this is the greatest thing ever. Now, again, I'm 30-something years old, in grad school, around a bunch of 18 to 24-year-olds. I've already socially grown. They haven't. So I thought I was going to be excluded. Next thing I know, I'm helping students all night long working on their projects and not mine. I'm like, God, this is great. This is almost the exact same feeling I get when I coach Little League sports. When a 12-year-old runs up to me, coach, 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 thank you for letting me play. This was the greatest time of my life. And some of the students were doing the same thing. They were coming up thanking me for helping them achieve what they wanted to do. Well, I was fortunate enough to finish up with honors, and Auburn asked me to stay as a visiting professor. Did that for 2 years. Again, I found that education was that second most rewarding thing I've ever done. But I had to go out and make actual living as a designer. I had to test it. So I went out, worked. I've worked for the Yankees with designs. I've worked with Home Depot. I've owned my own firm. We've done a couple of speedboats that's won awards. So I've done a large spectrum of things, but it still didn't match what I did at teaching. So UL Lafayette called up one day and said, one of your professors said you would like to be a teacher one day. Yeah, I would. One day when I get ready for it, I'd like to go back into education. Great. Can I call you tomorrow? Sure. So we talk, and I'm like, when are you looking for someone? They said, oh, you're hired now. Do you want to see my work? Nah, you come highly recommended. We trust you. Okay, sure. Went there, worked at UL Lafayette, and then I had a friend at SCAD. He said, please come talk to the chair of the department. Okay, sure. Walked in, started talking to him. They flew me out. I was one of 39 actually interviewing, next to last. By the time I landed back in UL Lafayette, I had a call. You're hired. Get there. So now I've dedicated my whole life to education. And it's so rewarding, so great. But now what am I really educating these students on? Well, we've already heard about STEM today. Luckily, everybody before me set up what I'm supposed to be saying, so you kind of get some of this, right? Science, technology, engineering, math. Industrial design is full of this. We have to use all of these things to create the next world. But where's the art? Where's the emotion? Where do we get that from? So now we've heard about STEAM. We inserted that A just to make sure that we're there. Well, how's it used? Well, everybody in this room teaches art, works with art, deals with art. We all believe in art. So we all understand the importance of art. But in a classroom, art allows people to express themselves in many different ways. It's not just about one way of doing things. Sidewalk Arts Festival in Savannah. Performing arts. It's a complete way of describing something. The girls that were here and the guys before me, they expressed something without words. Everyone got it. All right? How do we capture moments of time in different views? Just like was said earlier, you can have people come in, talk about their ideas doing hands. Oh, it's this big, it's that big, it's going to do this. No, sketch it. Show it to me. People believe it when it's in front of them. And for those who are very artistic, you can wow a crowd just by drawing a really nice stick man. You can capture it with photos. Oh, jumped a little bit. Go back. There we go. You build, sculpt, and mold the world around you. Art allows this. Fashion. This is about as fashion as I get. It's usually Carhartts, boots, and maybe a flannel if it's cold, right? How do we see the future without art? How do we dictate what might be? Art allows that window. It allows us to see things that aren't there yet. We can even break rules with art. Right? Physics tells us one thing. Art can tell us so much more. Just go back to Aristotle, Albert Einstein, Da Vinci. These are marveled people, but they all believed in art. They all saw that art was the most important thing the world needed. It allowed our creativity to immerse. It allowed Da Vinci to look at a horse, figure out the mechanics of a horse, create the horse by just looking at it. How many times you see creative people walking around with naive eyes? They have to. You have to look at the world as a child. The only way that we can create anything new is not know the rules. Henry Ford's a great example. His statement, if I listened to the people, I would have created a faster horse. Right? I would not classify him a classic artist, but he understood it. He understood trying to capture something. All right. So as a designer, we get left out of this. Why is it just art? Right? Why can't it be design too? So I put steamed. I will not be left out of the conversation. Now, where do I fit in this conversation as a designer? Let's talk about industrial design, but it counts as any design. Industrial designers fight between art and engineering. Art is all expression. It's about the emotions. Engineers are about boxes, right? Mathematically, they're sound. I can create anything in a box. People hate boxes. People do not gravitate towards a box. They want a curve. Artists want curves everywhere, and it can't be produced. So we have to speak both languages. And what's great about design, it doesn't matter about the prefix. Interior, fashion, industrial, interaction. It's still design. We still walk the same principles. We still use the same process. When people say you look for a problem, problems are now. You look for opportunities because that's coming down the pipeline. Then we research it. Then we talk about contextual research. Right? Too many people hide behind a screen now. And for students that are in here, you are the greatest data collectors ever, but you're going to be the dumbest data collectors ever. Because where do you get information? Everywhere, right? Google it, YouTube it. But you're not getting the experience behind failing with it. Where does knowledge come from? Data, experience. You start making these dots. Where does wisdom come from? You're old enough and smart enough to connect the dots of knowledge and create wisdom, and now you can manipulate it. That's wisdom. But if we allow the students to never have that experience, we just broke the chain. The wisdom of the world will be only caught on YouTube. I have students walk into my classrooms all the time going, how does that doorknob work? Oh, you just push down on it. No, how does it work? I don't know. How curious are you? If you're going to design the future, you should know how a doorknob works. Designers break things because we want to see how it works. Now, some of you are old enough, you're in my age group, you took things apart just to see how it worked. Then you had to scramble to put it back together before your dad got home. And somehow you had a box of extra screws and bolts every single time. I always said I was saving the company money. But that's design. Design is there for you to grab. Industrial designers, there's 90% of everything we do is a failure. 90%. That's a great field to go into, isn't it? Knowing that you're going to fail 90% of the time. But on that 10%, we are 100% accurate on predicting the future because we just created it. Everything that you touch, a designer has touched before. And everybody thinks it's about a tangible item, an artifact, the manipulation of atoms. We're way beyond that now. It's a thought process. It's problem solving. Everybody in design, pretty much in business now, has heard of design thinking. Right? That's a common thing that's being brought into the corporate world. How do you think like a designer? We have lawyers, we have preachers, we have lawyers that come in to learn that process to deliver their information better because we understand people. Right? And I talked about contextual research. I'm going to do the example in this classroom the same as, in this room, the same as I do in my classroom. How many of y'all have heard of the Grand Canyon? That means everybody raise your hand. How many have seen a photo of the Grand Canyon? Again, raise your hand. How many's been to the Grand Canyon? Hey, quite a few. For those who have never been to the Grand Canyon, you can never use the word grand. It's a canyon to you. Because until you stand on the edge and look down 3,000 feet, then you look this way, you look this way, it's a big hole. But man, it is huge. It's breathtaking. That's contextual research. You have to put yourself in that situation before you even understand it. So a lot of the design process is that. I got to live it to know it. Now, how am I going to create a better world, solve all the world's problems, if I've never even seen the world? So let's get to some of this. What is design? I kind of baited you on this, but what is design? That's a hard question because you can even ask designers, and we have 100 different definitions of what design is. No one can define it. We can tell you our process. We can tell you what I believe design is, which I'm about to. But you have to figure it out on your own. Design is doing something without knowing what you're doing. Right? That's one of the best graphics I've found to describe design. Because we are about failure. We embrace that failure. I tell students when they're coming into design and they want to be designers, you're going to be told no. Costs too much. Can't be done. Color's wrong. Wrong material. That's never going to sell. And then all of a sudden you make it and go, man, I got it. Anyone can do that once. But if you want to be a designer, you crave and you just cannot wait to the next. You can't do that. You hit the wall. That's wrong. You love the pain for the next moment of, right? That's how you know you want to be a designer. This is what I call design. Not the clock. The moment. Design is capturing moments, just like art. When When you use something and all of a sudden it's like, man, that's great. That product talked to me without even being owned. You got it. When it's so intuitive that when you pick it up, it's like it's been your friend forever. When you walk by something, you don't care what it is, but it's amazing. I've got to go touch it, feel it. That's design. It's capturing and stopping moments. It's also capturing the invisible. Now, when I talk about the invisible, we walk around things all the time, but most people walk around the world with blinders on. They just take it for what it is. They see this far in front of their face. A designer has to reach out here and grab it, bring it back to where people can understand it. Right? Best one I can do an example with, gravity. How long has gravity been here? Forever. People just took it for granted. It took an apple to fall on some guy's head, and he named it. Now everyone sees gravity. We understand gravity. He captured the invisible to tell you what it was. That's a designer's job. We are to take things and go out and grab it. We're to get rid of the noun and find the action. Now, I'm going to ask a few questions, and I want to see if you can answer them. See how you would think about it. How about if I tell you to create a refrigerator? What would you draw? Box with a cool handle? Put a TV in the front of it? Multiple doors? Espresso machine? Still a box, right? Now, how about if I give you the brief, create me something, an artifact, that slows down the decay of dead matter? What happens? Your brain goes like, what? That could be anything. That's a refrigerator. That's all it is. If I tell you to create a cell phone, you're going to make the cell phone look just like every other one out there. A nice rectangle with a big flat screen on it, which the world's going to become really boring before long because everything has to have a touch screen. I don't understand it, but we keep going that direction because of technology. Now, how about if I tell you to create a portable communication device? 2 cans and a string. Teleporter. Walkie-talkie. Right? Has nothing to do with a cell phone. But your brain opened up more. This is how you train yourself to find the invisible. Because you're reaching for something that's not there. No one can label it. This is the point. Apple helped us see design. You might be a PC person. You might hate Apple. It's okay. I have both in my world, and I hate both of them. I hate technology. I'm old school. Doesn't look it, but I am. But they figured out how to use design to their benefit. They allowed designers to start running the company. They made the decisions. So what was the one thing that defined what Apple is? The one thing. Everybody says computer. That's wrong. That's wrong too. Tricked you on the photo. Suckers. It's the white earbuds. Oh. Everybody had black ones. What they did, they created an aura. We're going to be the rebels. We're going to be the misfits. We're going to be the creatives that no one wants to listen to. They did a whole campaign just on the white earbuds. So when you walk down the street, you saw someone with the white earbuds like, hey, we're 2 on the whole street. But that set up who they were. They set up their brand off of a white earbud. Now everybody's copying them. It's hard to be the rebel when you're in front. They're having to redefine themselves now. So they help change design forever. Is this this design? Is this design? Yeah, it's all. How about this? Service. Right? It's the new thing. It's all about collaboration. We have to work together to make something. Oh, I think it went too far. Yep. Okay, let's jump back to the iPhone now. This is an artifact. This is industrial design. We can create anything. See the apps? That's interaction. So is that door. When that door is closed, the door handle is the app because there's information on the other side. When I push this door opens, I'm there. But what made Apple unique is the service that went behind it, iTunes. It allowed everything to be connected, allowed me to be part of a community. Take that away, simple smartphone. Take the interaction away, great paperweight. Take the artifact away, we can't get to Facebook. So now we need all of them. Next slide. There we go. So design has changed a lot. We went from commodities to goods to service. So now we're in the experience part. I'm trying. Okay. That's fine. So this is showing commodities. It's showing the goods, right? This is calling, go ahead. This is the experience that Starbucks is creating now. So what's next? Transformational design. What is that? That's when design is the educator. We create educational platforms for people to learn from design. We don't just give them products. We don't just give them the experience. We allow them to grow with us. That's the next phase. Knowledge is the key. That's what I'm hoping my students gain from when they go through me. Not a bunch of products, but knowledge. All right, go to the next one. Design education. I think I got to go quick because she said over here. Next. All right, so we got research. Go ahead. Visualization. Prototyping. Man, that's boring. Right? Education is so much more. Go to the next. Okay, let's look at the box. And I promise I won't go over too much. Okay. Next. Okay, working with integrated teams in the classroom. This is needed. You have to work in a group. You need to build a community. You have to have teamwork to create anything. Most students have 3 to 4 years of knowledge in their brain because everything before then was taken care of by their mom and dad. So what are they going to create with 4 years of just stuff? But how about if you get a team full of just stuff? What could happen? Have external partners and designers come in and network with them. Be as a peer. Sit down with them. Critique them. You learn so much more from other people than you do just from yourself. So why not bring these professionals and set them down with students right then, right there? That's instant information. Plus, they'll believe them way before they will a professor. Oh, I remember when you said that. I said that about 2 weeks ago. Question yourselves and each other. Every single classroom. Every single class. If you can critique someone constructive, you've matured. If you can look at your own work and critique it very honestly, you've matured. So every time you go into a classroom in design, you are being ripped apart. 1, to get rid of the feelings. 2, to find the right answer, not just what's in your head. Okay, next. Late night work sessions. This is where I differ a little bit because I have no family. I'm there till like 2 in the morning almost every night. A lot of my professors have young children or newborns. I tell them to go home. I don't mind. I have 600 kids waiting on me. Now, it's not sustainable. I'm starting to get gray hair. My waistlines went from a V to a pair. But again, it's what I want to do. Next. How about what can we add to the box? You develop services and products for companies. We have companies all the time coming down to Savannah working with us. I'll have a team of 20 students, 8 different majors doing one project. Each one brings a uniqueness to the classroom. If you're a graphic designer, I'll make you start designing products. If you're an industrial designer, I'm making you do the illustrations. For the first half, you're going to be so uncomfortable and you're going to hate me. But when we flip it, and then I bring back the expertise of each student, they've just learned so much in how to communicate with the others. Because the first 2 weeks is an argument. They fight, but they're saying the same thing just in different terminologies. So why not thrust them into it? Show them. Again, I'm okay with that. Look how my father raised me. I'm perfect with it. Nope, that's not right. Okay, next one. You can do a whole product line and ecosystem for companies because companies don't know what they need. They think they do, but they have no clue. They're used to doing what they do best. And if you're only looking at what you can do now, you will fail. You have to project what's next coming down the pipeline. Where can I be? The world's moving so much faster nowadays. The consumer's getting so much smarter because everything is on the web. You have to stay in front of that. Next. How about if we get outside the box? Travel. Travel abroad. See the world. See things that you can create for. People you can create for. Do contextual research outside your classroom. Design and build it in the classroom and then go test it. This group had to do camping gear, so we took them camping. You trust your design? Yeah, it's going to work. Great. We're going to go camping with it. Whoa, wait. I'm not so sure. No, I got my REI camp. You got to use yours. And it's so funny watching it just collapse on them because everybody around them is laughing. Not being mean because they know theirs is about to collapse too. But it's a learning experience. Interact with other colleges, schools around the world. This is what's so great about these conferences because you're already doing that within the state. It's hard for colleges because it's about money. I could care less about money. I care about my students and the next generation being greater than I will ever be. That's my goal. I even told my nephew, he is to be the greatest man of our family to date. And if I fail at making him that, I fail as an uncle. And I think the same thing about students I have no clue about. I've only met for 2 or 3 years. But deep down, it is my obligation to do that. And then the next generation has to do the same thing for the next, and then the next, and then the next. Next. Collaborate with communities. Do those jobs. Go out and find things that communities need. Because I promise you there's projects around you. People love to have people come in and work with them. Not do help. Don't just do it as a charity. Get them involved with it. Jump in and say, look, we don't mind getting dirty if you don't mind. Let us help you find something that's going to make this a grander experience. Half of these kids that never saw snow. First day is just like snapshots of their feet. And then within 4 hours, they did a completely professional presentation with models, presentation, business plan, everything. 4 hours. The community was amazed. They asked us to come back. All right, again, travel. This one was about Haiti. The class went down to create furniture. Well, the class found out the furniture was not the problem. The problem was students and kids did not have clothing in the uniform to get into the school. So what did our students do? They found how to use local resources, create jobs. They made the furniture for the school that was just built by an outside source. But the parents of those kids made money to buy the uniforms so those kids could go into the school and get an education. That was the true problem, not the furniture itself. Next. here's where I'm not so passionate about the first part. This is where I'm really passionate, right? How about if I just flatten the box? Just get rid of the box. Get rid of the classroom. I know it's a dangerous thing to say with a bunch of art professors, but how about if we do it? Something I designed, because I'm constantly searching for the next thing. Shift Design Camp is in Northwest Alabama, on my family's property. I wanted to give some of my life experiences to children, students all over the world. We have 100 students and professionals come to North Alabama, in the middle of nowhere, Alabama. From all across the U.S., we have people coming from China, Argentina, Spain, Mexico, to come to this classroom. Most of these kids have never been off pavement, have no clue what they're getting into. Here's my classroom. Every single day we start with a design challenge, a lecture. And what's so funny is Dell, Google, IBM, all these high-tech people are the ones that help sponsor it, because they know computers are not the answer, it's just a tool. We disconnect to get back to the old school of learning. Trial and error. Fail a bunch. Let's have a party. Let's glorify you making 100, 200 mistakes to find how it actually works. They have to find raw material on the property. They have to build it on their own. We walk around and laugh at them the whole time. But we bring in icons to have campfire conversations at night with them. They inspire them. It's not about grades. It's about this, smiles, connections, networks. It's almost like an anti-conference. Because when you go to a conference, you see professional and you see student. No one will mix. If you take that away, you put the same shirt on everyone, everyone's an equal. Google, we took their phones away from them too. They had to sweat it and do everything just like the students. This is where we're going next with it. It's, by the way, for those who are business people, this is not a great business plan. I'm lucky to break even every single year. It's terrible, but I love it. We've had one in Alabama. Well, we've had 3 in Alabama, 1 in Tennessee. We will be in Puerto Rico this winter. We will be in Argentina next summer. We've got an open invite to Wales, Spain, Austria, Mexico, Costa Rica, Puerto Rico, Colombia, Peru, Argentina, Beijing. And all of these people believe in what I believe in. Not about a grade, not about a paycheck, about students, about the next generation. That's me. Thanks. This one's going to be so much easier than Spain because I had to wait for the translations last time. Somebody's got to have a question. Nothing? Alabama will always be the 2nd or 3rd week of June because I can take 100 students there because it's my property. That's the test run. So if you've been to the Alabama, you can apply for the ones that are international because I'm trying to have it to where companies sponsor students to go abroad, where they only pay a certain small amount, just where they have skin in the game. But I don't want it to be so out of reach because this is not about rich kids. It's not about who's got the biggest paycheck. It's who's got the biggest heart. So yes, that Alabama will always be the capstone of what we do because I can let them use those trebuchets and stuff to launch fireballs at night. Not that we've done that before. College students and professionals. We've had a few graduating seniors that knew they wanted to go in industrial design. And it's not just for industrial design, by the way. It's for any creative. We've had writing, we've had engineering, we've had photography, graphic, fashion. All of those people bring something uniquely to the table. But now what I'm trying to do is also get an earlier education camp up. I just can't mix that with college kids. Different atmosphere. So I want to start working with middle school, elementary school, high school, even high school educators. Not that you have to camp as much, but because these kids stay in a tent the whole week. Now there is hot water, showers, stuff like that, but it's glamping for the most part. Yes, sir. Correct. Oh, yes. Yes, sir. It's design process, and now you'll see double diamonds, you'll see the 5Ds, you'll see all of those things. All of that translates. It doesn't matter what school. Auburn's got a great program. They do it a little bit different. They're more on methodology than like corporate sponsor classes. Every school has its own characteristics. That's why when they tour, I tell students go see 6 colleges before they come to ours, or have one of 6 and find the one that best matches your personality. But yes, design thinking, which we have design management course at SCAD, is the one that trains executives how to interject design from a managerial point of view, not just from a product point of view. So this is my journey, but yes, there is a process that in which you can use anytime to put into business. Uh, I would say uniqueness is very hard, but I, I have a different mindset just because of my upbringing, and I still hold on. I fought my whole life not to be a farm kid, but now it's the one thing that I cherish the most, and I think design is all about that, and so I push it just like this. I've got a group that works with me and a co-founder that's also an educator with me, so we just believe in what we do. I've taught at 3 universities. All of them have been great for their own things. SCAD has been, I've been fortunate with that because it's a young college, it's an art college, and it's very flexible. I can rewrite my whole curriculum every 2 years. All of the professors, well, I'd say 90% of the professors at SCAD are still practicing designers. So we still do what we preach in class. So we kindly morph our classroom examples to what's happening in industry. And we're trying to keep up. And we have to also think it's not a firm, it's students. So allow them to fail as students. And we're there to pick them back up, dust them off, and go, yeah, that really wasn't good. But see that one little moment there? That's where your genius is. And then this is a side venture. This is not a SCAD thing because I want to add something to education of my own. And so that's where that came from. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Okay, everything is on that website. Let's see. It's shiftdesign.us. The one in Alabama, it's first 100. It's 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 easy, right? Just sign up. The ones after that, we send out a flyer saying we're about to go to Puerto Rico. Why would Puerto Rico change your life? And I've already seen them in Alabama, so I know if they can work in groups. I already know if they're going to be team players. Are they going to bring a positive attitude? I mean, it's easy. 100 kids, you see the ones that drift off and do nothing. They don't know that it's a dress rehearsal for greater things, but that's what it works. No, it's just .us, no .com. We are nonprofit status. I don't know how I could do it for profit. I don't make a living. That's why I still teach, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I have. And, funny thing, I've been talking with someone here from NASA that each one in Alabama is local themed. Like 2 years ago, we did Native Americans. So we did Mr. Hendricks' Native Wall, where he's been stacking rock walls for the last 30 years. Last year, we did music on the cusp of Muscle Shoals, which was mentioned earlier. I know some of the Swampers. So we had the students make their own instruments. They got on stage and we gave them a song. And they were playing it, and it was awful because most of them had never heard of it before in their life. We picked one that they never heard. And the next thing you know, Bob Ray jumps up on stage like, man, this is the way we did it in the recording studio, and started playing. And they're like, oh, wait, what? Right, so I bring those kind of people in. This year we're going to work with the theme of Helen Keller and Ann Sullivan. It's not about Helen Keller, it's about Ann Sullivan and the teaching. So at the end of the week, I've got lined up 30 kids that have a uniqueness to them, not a disability, because a lot of them don't see it as a disability. But we're going to bring them out, and our students are going to create an experience through the wilderness for those kids. So they're going to learn all of these different things all the way through. But robotics is something we're wanting to push. Even though I say we disconnect, there is a thing about electronics is a tool, not a crutch. So we're going to start interjecting some of that, not the internet, but electronics. Because cell phones really don't work out there. For anybody that's been to the Rattlesnake Saloon, that's on the family property. We have a saloon shoved up underneath a rock. Your cell phones do not work. But then we cut off internet. You can use your computer to do whatever you want to, but you can't find information. It's all up here. So yes, I am so interested in, because especially with small children, and this goes from anyone, everybody thinks I'm supposed to go attract seniors from high school. They've already set their dream. Go to the young ones and set their dreams. I mean, really, when I'm looking at what I want to do, I was this big when I was like, I want to do this, I want to do this. When I got a senior, I'm like, I just got to go to college. Find the enthusiasm, find the emotion, find the just encouraging moments for children, because they're the ones that you can impact the most. Anyone else? Because I can talk all day. All right, well, thank y'all.
We're going to take a quick little 5-minute break, change the set, and come back and see some dancers. See you in 5.